What is up, ladies and gentlemen, Manny here, welcome back to the channel. Remember when 3 days ago or something in my little update video I said that I was working on a hard 8C project in the Graz area and that I was going to try it in 2 days or so? Well, it worked out. It was a cooler day than usual, better conditions and a bit of conditioning from my side, and I finally could send that beast, which took quite a bit of effort, to be honest. And I right away also want to thank all my belayers for their patience on this one as well, because there were quite a few people involved here actually. Moreover, on the sanding day I had the camera in my bag and we could get a nice shot from an attempt where I fell on the last move of the last crux. The next attempt was when I sent it, but we didn't film this one unfortunately, so that's how it goes sometimes, you know. Never mind, I thought I could use the shot I have, which is the one you're looking at right now, to make a little analytic rock climbing episode about this route, because it contains some really tasty climbing, to say the least, from a technique, mechanics and strategy point of view. So let's start with some hard facts, if you want to call it like that, before we get into more detail. The route is located in the Grazer Bergland in a crag called Huatluckn, which I've featured already a couple of times in previous climbing vids. The character is bouldery, but with a very strong endurance component as well, and the terrain, as you're going to see, is super steep. Basically we're talking about a 10 or more meter roof here, after which the route goes up to the anchor and is basically over from a difficulty point of view. So if you can do the roof, you can do the route essentially, just like if you can build a roof, you can build a house or something like that, because these two things are super related to each other. Yeah, but anyway, it is also worth mentioning that this project is a combination starting at Machine Head, a route which I made a video of relatively recently when I climbed it, but instead of finishing it, which yields 8B, you keep climbing in the roof through an absolutely funky crux sequence into that huge hole up there, which gives you the opportunity for a decent rest if you know how it must be handled. Up until this point, the route checks in at around 8B plus, I guess, maybe tough 8B plus, and from the hole right up to the closest anchor leads you through the crux of an 8A called tokamak, amounting up to a combination called Tok Machine, which already exists, which gives 8C, maybe a bit on the softer side, but yeah, I sent this one around a month ago, and basically I did it the first time I got into the huge hole, so it's not that hard up there anymore. It is still possible to connect further through the roof to the left though into the boulder crux of a route called Electronic Beat Launch, which on its own checks in at around 8A+. So basically we're looking at 8B+ into decent rest into bouldery 8A+. So I'd go for tough 8C in the end. In the guidebooks I know the route is still not listed or mentioned as a project, nor did the people I talked to know from somebody who tried this. So it seems like this is a first ascent, but I'm happy to be corrected if someone knows more as usual. For now I will call it Der Mechatroniker, which is a mechatronic engineer in German essentially, which I find quite fitting for something that consists of a mix of machine and electronic. So yeah, that's how the name comes to be. So now that you have a first impression of this thing, let's take a more detailed look at the actual climbing. For the second part of the voiceover I will just try to talk basically over the ascent. I will also use editing methods like slowing down my speed, or making a still image or something when I'm a bit slower with the talking, because this part of the video as usual is not scripted like the part from before, which you might have noticed because I was talking so wonderfully fluently, as if English was my mother tongue, which it is not, it's German. But anyway, we are going to have a little bit of a commentary on this route, hopefully as useful and as informational as possible. I will try my best. So let's start here. This is the start of Machine Head essentially, and you will notice right away that everything goes really fast. The clipping, the movements, really precise, really fast there. And the simple reason for this is that I'm climbing this part maybe already 40 times or something, because I was doing this for projecting the route itself, Machine Head, the 8B, and then the upcoming combo, the Tok Machine combo, which is already at C, and then also the next combo here, which is the Mechatronic project, which is what I'm showing you right now. So here we have this Gaston move from the right hand into this edge with the left hand. And you can see here this is a very body strengthy situation there. The right foot is really far down, and you know, this foothold also, it's not that good. It's super greasy, it's very slopey at the same time, so you really have to hold the body strength there. And there is actually a clip that I'm skipping because it is super hard to clip it, which is possible, you know, but it costs a lot of energy in the right hand. So the hold that you're getting there with your right hand is actually quite good, which is why I decided to clip the next quick draw from this one and skip the one beforehand. And then you actually have the choice. Do you want to go to the right, which gives 8B, which is the original machine head, or do you want to keep climbing through the roof here, which is what we are going to do. And this is essentially what you're going to see next is one big move into a really tiny edge with the right hand, and then matching the left hand, so to say, with my left foot, and crossing kind of over into this big undercling pyramid that is also visible from this angle. And this one actually is, you know, mechanically in this roof, although it's not a so good hold in itself, but in combination with those footholds, you know, it's really kind of, it almost feels like a jug, you know, it really cuts into your skin and you can really hold on to this one quite well, which is why I clipped the next two quick draws actually from this hold. And then at this point you're already pretty pumped, you know, you have one crux move of machine head in your hands, and then also this pretty tiny edge from before. Essentially your right hand is a bit, you know, it's already a bit wasted. So this is why I decided to give a little shake out at this point, you know, just a couple of, you know, shakes with both hands, because then right away we are entering this funky crux sequence that I was talking about before, which is really interesting from a mechanic point of view. So as you can see, I'm stepping a foothold with my right foot here, with my left foot here actually, and my right foot is doing some kind of toe hook, which is not really visible from this angle, but it is really essential to be able to match this undercling that I have in my left hand right now. And this is what's gonna happen next. I'm gonna match it, so here we go, and then right away follows a big move to the left, actually in the direction of the root, but since you're so tilted with your body, it's feeling like you're climbing to the left, you know, you're kind of traversing. And once you got that one, you make a foot switch on that foothold from before, and again toe hook with your left foot. And this time you're kind of squeezing this whole, you know, complex of rock in between your left toe hook and your right foothold, locking off that undercling again with your left hand, which is kind of, you know, it's a really hard move essentially. And this is also interesting from a morphology point of view, because for my size, this is just right, you know, grabbing the intermediate hold here with my right hand and then slapping onto the next edge here with my right hand. And now you're basically having this whole complex of rocks squeezed in between your right hand onto this edge and left hand onto this undercling. Your toe hook is still holding on, right foot keeps, you know, swinging into the open air here. And then you can let go of your feet, you know, having this really compression situation there, putting the heel hook close to your left hand, actually locking that edge off, and then doing the following two moves into these, you know, juggy edges of this big hole there, which I talked about before, in which you can put your right foot, and down there, you know, kind of in, you know, half a meter into that hole, there is a really good toe hook. And if you manage to sort that one in kind of properly, it allows you essentially to, you know, to get a decent shakeout. I mean, a shakeout in such a roof is never a good rest, you know, not even if you can make a no-hand rest out of it, essentially, because even then you have to, you know, engage your core, you have to engage your upper body, and it costs you core strength, you know, it costs you calories in those departments. So anyway, this is the really funky sequence that I've talked about. Now we've got something that is around 8B plus, maybe tough 8B plus. From here straight up would be 8C. This would be the combination called Talk Machine, which I climbed around 1 month ago. And what you're gonna have to do now is essentially, from a strategy point of view, get as calm as possible and shake away the meters that you have already accumulated beforehand, you know. Really, you know, also even letting the foot hang down, you know, and getting also those toes fresh again, because you've got all these body strengthy moves in your toes, you know, which is, you gotta step quite actively there, you know, to be able to not slip off these greasy footholds. So yeah, as usual, you know, resting strategy, always looking at the shaking arm, always looking down to be able to, you know, to ensure the optimal blood flow, ensure optimal oxygen supply and all that good stuff, you know, getting ready for the upcoming climbing. And now, you know, up until this point, the route is not really condition dependent, which was kind of, you know, ideal for the time, because now it's summer, you know, and it was hot quite most of the time actually. If you would climb up to the crux of Tokamak, actually, the 8A, giving you the Tok machine combination, this is still not so condition dependent, because you don't really have any slopers in there, you know, not really any friction dependent stepping or holding. I mean, stepping all the time, but not really holding. If we combine to the left though, which is what we are going to do now, you know, big move to the left into this kind of good hold there, getting one clip in, and then matching there in this area with the right hand, always trying to get a shakeout between every move, you know, preserving as much energy as possible for the upcoming hard moves. This is also quite juggy hold with the left hold here, with the left hand. And here you gotta place the last, you know, quick draw, the last clip actually before you enter the crux, the real crux of the route. And this already costs you, I want you to pay attention to the left hand here. This already costs you quite a lot of juice in your left hand. And this is gonna be essential, you know, when we're talking about how and why the crux is actually so hard. So we've got intermediate hold with the right hand here. Switching hand here, it's not really visible, but I'm trying to turn my left hand more into an undercling direction there. And this is really essential, because the next move, and this by the way costs also a lot of energy in the left hand, the next move goes up to this sloper there. This is the reason, this hold here that I'm having now with my right hand is the reason why this combination is so much more condition dependent than anything else involving these kind of routes. Because this sloper is just so bad when it's above 25 degrees Celsius in my experience, you know, and especially when it's a bit humid. But this day, at this day, it was actually quite good conditions. It was 21 degrees and I could really feel that on that hold. Anyway, so we're matching the left hand now with the left foot, giving a toe hook there, and now we can switch the left hand from this pocket into the undercling. Right away you notice that I'm pretty much making dynamic moves only here all the time, so not really a chance to shake out in between the moves like I did it beforehand, you know, on the moves before. And now we're getting the right foot more up, you know, to be able to release the left hand, kind of snap into this side pull there, which gives you a really hard compression situation where you have to basically push this bad sloper and this side pull together. Then you step with your right foot again and slap with your left hand onto the next edge, which is kind of an open 3-finger pockety edge, not really good, really greasy, you know. And at this point I lost my feet all the time, which is also the reason, by the way, why I decided to pre-clip the quick draw that is involved in this crux, you know, from the good pocket from beforehand, because you could also skip that one. And what you should notice here is that basically from the time point where you're getting the last quick draw in before you're entering that crux, the left hand is under tension all the time. Even if you keep making moves, there's absolutely no chance that you can get even a small short little shake into your left hand. And because this sloper is so bad that you're grabbing with your right hand, you get the impression that, you know, the crux is being fresh enough with your right hand actually, which it is not. It is really essential that your left hand has to get as much of the shakeout that you have beforehand as possible, because here, you know, through all of these sequence here, the left hand is really under tension, and this clipping that you have to do from your left hand is also really essential, because as you can see, we're not really high up there. Right below there are some rocks which you could hit when you know, we've got already a lot of rope out here through this roof, and if you're here a little bit slack, you know, then you could actually hit that rocks, and as you're gonna see, because I'm gonna fall during this attempt, you get quite low even if you clip the quick draw, you know, so there's definitely not an option to skip that one. And this, because you cannot do it in the middle of the crux, you have to do from your left hand beforehand, and all of this amounts up to this, you know, kind of crazy strain, this crazy stress on your left hand. And as you're gonna see, once you kind of stick this move onto this intermediate edge that I have right now, that I'm swinging off right now, You just have a short period of time, a short time window where you can put your right foot against the wall again and push yourself away from this one, making this dynamic move onto this horn-like hold there. And here you need all your contact strength for, you know, in your left hand again. So this is why this is such a crux, even though it's only quote-unquote only 8A plus here, Bouldery 8A plus. But if you're just starting from down there, you know, which is the original start of the 8A plus, you don't have this kind of power endurance stress in your left hand already, because the clipping sequence and everything is completely different. But if you're coming from the right, from the combination, you kind of really get your left hand tired first, and then you have to skip this dyno, then you have to stick this dyno on the horn essentially with your left hand. And this is why this is, I fell there kind of, I got into the hole like, I don't know, 10 times, and I fell at this crux here like 5 times and even at the very last move like 3 times or something before I stuck it finally, you know. Really focusing on having the left hand as fresh as possible. And this is essentially everything. Once you stick this horn hold and you get the left heel hook up, and then you're finishing the route to the top, which is not that hard anymore. You know, it's kind of shaking out, kind of power endurance to the anchor, and that's basically it for this combination. So yeah, the sending attempt was the one right after this one. Unfortunately, not on video. But I hope I could give you a somewhat good impression of this climb, even though this is only a failed attempt. But I could do like 98% of the essential stuff, which is important. And also from a mechanical and strategical point of view, I hope I could give you an impression on what this route was about, essentially. So yeah, this is der Mechatroniker 8C in the Huatluckn. Cool combination, I have to say. Yeah, up for repetition, please. It would be cool if someone could confirm the grade. I'm proposing a tough 8C here, which yeah, would make kind of sense. It felt that hard for me. And yeah, that's basically it for this video. Hope you liked it. Let me know if you did down below. That always helps, you know, drop a like. And I'll see you soon in the next one. Bye.